1. Hello, in this video I shall be dealing with live capture of sound onto the camera. I shall be using various types of microphone. Firstly, we'll start with the onboard microphone, which is usually denoted by some sort of grill at the front of the camera or possibly on top. Secondly, I shall be using a rifle microphone, which inside this rather bulbous windsock is a long thin microphone which is very directional and tends to capture sound in front of it. Also, I shall be using the lavalier or lapel microphone, which also is plugged into the camera. And finally, the external recording device. I'll give a little bit more of an explanation about this later on. Other things you might like to have are headphones, or my preference, simple earplugs, which just you put into the headphone socket on the camera. Just check that you're recording, especially useful when you're on your own because you can't rely on it happening properly. Also, what we'll need for the long distances are an extension and tripod. I'll use this one for short distance on the table in front of me, and a larger one which you'll see a bit later on for the distance. This holds the microphone for me while I'm working alone. So I should be capturing the sound at 1 meter distance, 4 meter distance and 6 meter distance, so that we can compare the different levels of sound that we capture with each microphone. I've chosen these distances mainly because of the shape and of the rooms. Right, here we are with the camera set up at 1 meter using the microphone within the camera. I've been using that since the beginning, so you know what that sounds like. I'm now going to move the camera to the two other distances, which is 4 meters and then 6 meters, and give you some brief words to listen to there. Right, I've now set the camera at 4 meters. You can see the wider picture. I'll just zoom in so that you can see me better without all this clutter. So in we come. Now the microphone is still the onboard microphone, and we'll hear what that sounds like. Now I'm going to move it to 6 meters away. See what happens then. Right, we're now at 6 meters away, still using the onboard microphone, and on full wide. So I'll just zoom in again. So although the camera zooms in of the visuals, the sound remains the same. So I'm almost back where I started now with the picture, but the sound, I think you'll find it is totally different. Okay, next we're going to move on to the rifle mic at those distances. Now I've now connected up the rifle mic. The camera is still at 6 meters, I've left it where it was, so now I should be moving in with the microphone rather than out. So this is how the rifle mic sounds at 6 meters, and now I'll move it into 4 meters. The camera and rifle mic are now set at 4 meters. I'm still talking normally so that you can hear the difference rather than having to possibly shout. So that's the sound at 4 meters. And now I'm going to move that setup into 1 meter. Right, that's the camera and the rifle mic set up at 1 meter. And hopefully it would have demonstrated that the sound changes as you get closer to the subject. With hard walls all around us, the reverberations should diminish as we get closer. You don't notice it so much when you're just listening yourself, because your brain allows for all these differences and adjusts the sound for you, but the camera just records what it hears. One other little point I'd like to make while I'm talking to you like this is most of these microphones are mono. I like to put a little mono to stereo plug between the microphone and the camera so that it records on both channels. So that's what I do. You've then got the option of using 1 or 2 channels if you need to add anything left or right. Right, what I've done now is I've taken the microphone away from the camera, connected an extension lead. The camera is about 4 meters away from me and the microphone is right next to me, so I'll just show you that. Here you can see the microphone next to me on the table, whereas the camera is quite a long way away. So I think that even makes a difference between being 1 meter away on the camera and let's get rid of that microphone. That's the trickiest bit, is actually getting the microphone out of shot when you're working on your own. And you've got a small screen. I do have a 7-inch screen that I could check with, but that would mean I'm continually looking to one side to check the screen. So I'm using the camera screen at the moment, which is set in mirror mode. So that's the microphone to one side. Another option is that you just hold it down below out of picture sight. So I'll just do that in a minute. And what you'll get now is a lot of handling noise when I take the microphone off the tripod. Okay, so the microphone now hopefully is just out of shot. I'll show you. Just down there. It's pointing up to me because they are directional. And if I move it away, I'll just show you. If I move it away from me, you'll find the sound changes quite a lot. They just pick up mainly what's in front of them. In case you didn't hear that, they just pick up mainly what's in front of them. The trouble with hand holding a microphone is if you move in any way, the microphone will pick that up as well, handling noise. So you have to be quite careful on how you do that. Well, that's dealt with that. Now we'll move on to the lavalier mic. So the lavalier mic, also known as the lapel mic, it's currently attached to my tie, just down here, and is recording the sound. The camera's still at 4 meters, so it makes no difference how far away the camera is for the sound. You've got a lot more flexibility with what size picture you have. What you have to be careful of when using the lavalier is demonstrative mode. If you've got somebody who likes to wave their hands about and thumps themselves and bangs, you can hear all the noises coming through there. Sound man's nightmare. So you have to warn people not to tap their clothes. The reason it's called a lapel mic, noise coming up, is that it's often attached to the lapel as well. What you have to remember is, if you're doing an interview, is which direction the person's facing. If they're facing in that direction when they're talking, that's fine. But if they're facing in the other direction, you find that it's not such good sound because they're not actually talking into the microphone. So you have to consider that if you're doing an interview. For a straightforward piece to camera, it's not a big problem because you tend to keep us facing one direction. Okay, that's finished with that. That's demonstrated that the lavalier mic is really quite useful. It gives you very personal sound. I will now move on to the external recording device. First of all, I'll let you know I'm still connected to the lavalier mic, just for this brief part of it, while I explain what the external recording device does. This is the one I've chosen, which is a Zoom H2N. It's a fairly sophisticated but small item, and I chose this because it gives me quite a lot of flexibility. It can record mono, stereo and 5.1. You'll notice it's got the microphone grill both sides, and also it's ideal for me to do my voiceovers. I just record it onto here and then transfer it to the computer. I used to have another microphone, but when Windows 10 came in, it wasn't supported anymore, which was a real pain in the ear. But this is really compact, it's handy, and you just turn it on, place it wherever you want to capture sound, and off it goes. So what I'm going to do now is disconnect the lavalier microphone and use the H2N, and I'll do a little demonstration there. Right, now at the moment I'm recording both on the camera sound and the external recording device. I'll just zoom back so that you can see it. I've actually put it on a cushion to give it a little bit of deadening there. It's sat here on top of the cushion facing me. Always face the microphone as close to the sound source as possible. What you need to remember when you're recording with an external device is that you need to synchronize. So it's a good idea to use either a clapperboard or just simply clap. So to set up the synchronization, I should just go 1, 2, 3. Now both of those sound sources are recorded, one on the microphone and one on the camera. So now I'm going to switch from the recording device to the camera sound so that you get that, and then I shall now come back to the recording device, which is totally separate sound, which I've had to add to the soundtrack so that you can hear the difference. So you'll notice the variation in the sound levels and quality while this section is going on. Well, that's about it. I'll just add a bit on the end of this to show you an app you can get for, or one of the apps you can get for iPads or phones, which gives you a clapperboard if you want to use that. So we'll look at that bit now. Okay, here's my iPad and here's the Digislate app at the top. Just give that a tap again, and it turns up, and you get all sorts of rubbish with it, of course, because it's a free one. I'll just get rid of those. There we go. As you can see, you can fill in the various headings and numbers so that you can keep a track on it, and all you need to do to make it work is to either swipe across your screen or touch the volume button. So I'll touch the volume button, and there you go. Once again, it collects it, and it's perhaps too much trouble for some people when you can just go 1, 2, 3 clap, but it's a neat little device, so get it if you want it. It's all free to download. Okay, so that's the end of that, and goodbye for now.